Hey guys, I really wanted to do this, but at the same time I've been dreading to do it because it's a lot of stuff to cover. And I can't go over every movie or show in great detail. Sorry, I can't get my words together. It would help if I didn't film these things at 11:10 at night. Going forward. So I figured I would share my movie and TV show collection with you. So far, I do have like some old cartoons in like a folder, like rubber band together. They exist. I got them from the dollar store, but I don't have them in here, so keep that in mind that that's a thing. And this is not to like brag or show off or anything. Honestly, it seems like my collection videos get a lot of views, so that's something that you guys seem to be interested in. And B, I figured since you're interested in it, maybe you'd get a better idea of my interests when you see like the type of things that I like to watch. So I gotta figure out how I'm gonna do this. Bear with me. I'll quickly go through this collection because it's quite a few. I started collecting movies pretty seriously. Not seriously, but I started to actively collect it, say about maybe 2-3 years ago. And then before that I would very casually get movies and Blu-rays. They like had to be like my favorite films like Ghostbusters, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, etc. But I'm wasting time, so without further ado, let's get to this. So I'll just quickly go through this. Don't know why I haven't upgraded to Blu-ray on that. That's probably the second time I've owned that movie. I used to have this on DVD, but I upgraded. I really like that. I think that was on one of the comforting movie videos. I don't know. Comment on any movies that you want to know more about. There's just so many, I have to get through them. I really like the Addams Family films from the 90s. I actually haven't watched the Blu-rays yet. I found one in a bargain, and the other one they just released on Blu-ray not too long ago. That's kind of a, I guess in the movie world I would say a hidden gem. It's pretty crazy that I feel like in the gaming community, well, this is related to the gaming community, Metal Jesus kind of coined that phrase, hidden gems, at least to popular culture. And I really like the classic Disney films. And then I got this. My mom got Allison. I like Tim Burton and I like Lewis Carroll's version of Alice in Wonderland, but she gave me Inside the Looking Glass, which to my knowledge, no, I'm sure, like, because I've seen the first Disney live action Alice in Wonderland. It was actually a sequel to the books. So even though Through the Looking Glass is a sequel to Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, it's basically the second book. It's actually the fourth movie if you count the fourth story if you count the books, even though Lewis Carroll had nothing to do with it. Kind of like how after Return of the Jedi, as far as the Skywalker saga goes, technically George Lucas had nothing to do with it. I like Alien 1, 2, 3 the best. Alien Resurrection is just kind of okay. It's a little bit silly. This is a movie I discovered and actually really liked, but I really like Prometheus and Alien Covenant. I know that's not the most popular opinion, but the same person that directed Alien Resurrection actually directed this. That's a French film if you're not familiar with it, but it's pretty popular. I like it quite a bit. I don't have the Blu-ray version of American Beauty, but that's what I got this for, because I have the Blu-ray of Virgin Suicides. I've only come across like the DVD of American Beauty. This was the last one, but the case is all fucked up. It's kind of a controversial movie, but I like it. I guess these are kind of the guilty pleasure, the American Pie movies, at least the original ones. I don't care much for the spin-offs. I haven't really watched it, but except for like 5 minutes of one of them, and it was terrible. I don't know why I never upgraded to Blu-ray. Maybe I just hadn't come across it when I really started collecting. I really started collecting, I think, when I started to realize things on Netflix wouldn't be on forever, and I was starting to miss my favorite go-to movies. Before then, I would just kind of pick up a movie here and there. And then when I got a 4K television, I don't think 480p shows up as quite as well. This is like a used movie from Blockbuster. I think I inherited this from my grandmother. After a movie was done being like a new release, when they bought like 50 billion copies of them, Blockbuster would sell their used copies for cheap. But yeah, I think that's really what got me into collecting is the absence of my go-to movies on Netflix. Which is why when it comes to games or movies or whatever, if I really like it, I definitely try to do my best to get a physical copy. Sometimes it's just not realistic price-wise, but if I can pull it off, I'll do it. Sorry if this commentary isn't blowing your mind. I have a feeling my arm's gonna hurt really bad after this is done. That's what she said. Anyway, back to this. I got those quarantine arms that are weak due to lack of exercise. I don't think video games really count. I just watched the first Back to the Future on Netflix because I was in bed and it was there. Netflix is easy, I won't lie to you. Like, it is a convenient thing, especially if you don't want a collection. But for instance, before I started wanting to watch Back to the Future, these Batman movies, by chance, the animated Batman movies, just because I'll run out by the time I'm telling the story about Netflix. Like, DC's animated movies tend to be better than their actual live action movies, in my opinion. And some of these come in 2 in a set, which is nice. The Dark Knight Returns Deluxe Edition, or you can buy 1 and 2. This is 1 and 2 combined. But that's probably one of my favorite of the animated movies. And then the Red Hood's really good. And then, of course, Mask of the Phantasm. Tin cases are nice, but over time, if you're not careful, the paint on them tends to chip off. Or if you're careful with them, the paint tends to chip off. I actually prefer these kind of cases over the tin cases, to be honest with you, as far as longevity. The tin cases, when they're brand new, they look really cool. This wasn't as terrible as everybody thought. This is also the 3D version, but I believe it has the R-rated version, which I don't know. I haven't seen the PG-13 movie, so maybe the PG-13 movie's awful. I got this just for Batman and Batman Returns. I know they sell them separately now, so probably would have been smarter to wait. You know, I've watched these movies. I saw the first 2 in the theater. Didn't see the third one in the theater, but I have not watched them on this particular Blu-ray collection. surprised they never came out with a more special edition of Beetlejuice, because that's gotten really popular over time. As you can see, I've watched this one. This was another movie I inherited from my grandmother. This is a quirky, cool movie where they reenact old VHS movies, like with the lowest budget possible. Not a lot of people have ever talked about that movie. I love the Beverly Hills Cop movie. Even the third one is pretty alright. But they only had the first one, so that's the only one I own. The Beyond. A good little zombie shirt. I have a friend that had a band that had the a scene on it. Is it on the back of the case? Nope. Where one of the zombies gets its head blown off. Hopefully that's not considered a spoiler. And I still don't remember what the band's name is. I just know of that shirt as being the Beyond shirt. That's a CGI Disney movie, but I actually like it. If you'll notice, my taste in movies are quite random. I had the 2-disc DVD version of Big Trouble in Little China. I've not watched that version. Yeah, I heard this movie, the third Bill and Ted movie, is supposed to come out in December, and they still haven't released a teaser or a trailer yet. I don't know what they're gonna do, but they better do it soon. I heard they might be releasing a trailer in a few weeks, within, I think, by June or the end of June. Billy Madison. It's a stupid movie, but I like it. Birdman. I really like Michael Keaton as an actor. I mean, I know he's my favorite Batman, and he was awesome in Beetlejuice, but there's a ton of movies. I don't know. He's just really good. Black Lagoon. I was trying to read it through the camera viewfinder thing and the viewfinder screen, but it's too low resolution. Roberta's Revenge. I've actually seen that. Apparently I still can't remember the name of the movie. This was one of those. It's an official disc. I had to put it in the case though. It's one of those Redbox used movies that came in a plastic cardboard case. I actually got this just because I know that it was inspired by one of my favorite animes, which was Perfect Blue. I haven't even watched Black Swan yet. I might hate it and regret owning it, but if it was inspired by Perfect Blue, I don't know how it could be bad. All my stuff is getting mixed up. So I saved my DVD of Blade Runner because it has like all the different cuts on it. And then I have the final version on 4K Blu-ray. And then Blade Runner 2049. And this was hard to find on Blu-ray. Like I was about to get like a region-free European version, but Shout/Scream Factory not too long ago, I think it was early this year, finally released a Blu-ray, and I love that version of Blob. I like it better than the 1950s version with Steve McQueen, which I saw first, which is really weird. It was like on TNT's Monster Vision, if any of you remember that. Yeah, that's the director's cut version if you're curious of Blues Brothers. It has a few extra scenes in it. This is the Criterion version of Blue Velvet. I like the band Queen. I used to really listen to them a lot when I was first getting into music. The movie's alright. It definitely feels sensationalized. In a Pixar film. I have a soft spot for Disney that I didn't really start rediscovering until I had nieces, and then I was like, let me pick up these movies for them. if they ever come over. And then I started watching them. I'm like, oh, these are kind of enjoyable. Better not share this with anybody. A few months later, I ended up making a YouTube video sharing my video collection. So my secret's out. Brain Damage. It's a really weird, fucked up movie about like an alien brain creature that makes this dude see like he like trips out. I don't know how to explain it, but it's weird, and I definitely recommend seeing it. Bram Stoker's Dracula, awesome movie. A lot of optical effects. It's beautiful, and actually that's one of the movies in like the, what is it, ultra 4K ultra HD. Not necessarily because of the resolution, but the expanded color palette. That's one of the few movies I've actually really seen benefit from the expanded color palette. Probably the most out of any of the 4K Blu-rays that I own. Brazil. I don't know why I was looking at the back of that. Breakfast Club. A staple if you like 80s films. Bride of Frankenstein. I don't own the original. I don't know if I've come across it. It was one of those times where they were selling older movies during Halloween. And in my opinion, like, I've seen the original Frankenstein. I like it quite a bit. I mean, I know it's not accurate to the book, but Bride's kind of like the other part of the book. Very, very loosely. Like, both movies are fairly short. Like, these older movies, like the horror movies. Let me see how, does it say how long it is? But Bride's the better movie, and I don't even know why they call it Bride, because she's not in it that long. And I'm sorry if I spoiled that, if you thought that this whole movie was just about the bride. I feel like the movie's been out long enough where it's okay. Trying to see. You guys are probably screaming at me. It says how long it is right there. It's 1 hour and 15 minutes. Oh, I already showed those. I don't know what I'm doing. The Brood, David Cronenberg, Caddyshack. Did I show The Brood? I was looking at the case and not the camera. Oh well. Cannibal the Musical. That was made by the people who made South Park. It's Captain America 1, Captain America 2, Captain America 3, but it's really like The Avengers Part 3, to be honest with you. And Captain Marvel, because I was getting the other Marvel movies and they had a set. It's like, buy one, get one free. And I was like, I mean, Captain Marvel isn't a terrible movie, but it's definitely like not the best Marvel movie. And there wasn't really any other movies that I really wanted at that time. So I was just like, whatever. Like, I'll get it. It comes with a book. It completes like the saga or whatever from the Infinity War Avengers movies or whatever. But yeah, now to the next row. And as I was saying, like, you can't beat free. Alright, so we'll go to the next row, and let me pause and put this back up. Alright, now we're on the seas. We're on a roll. I can't imagine how much time I've already spent. It feels like I've been here forever already. So let's start. This was actually donated by my friend Dean from Escape to Gaming, Vinny Corleone 62. It's like the car version of Jaws, if I were to describe it in simple forms. In simple terms, apparently I can't talk, but what else is new if you're a regular viewer of this channel? Apparently they made like a modern sequel. I forgot if I saw it on like Amazon Prime or just advertised, but apparently there's a sequel with a modern car. And this is like this is Castle in the Sky, which is Studio Ghibli. Some people call it Ghibli. It's like the Japanese animated version of like Disney film. The Cat's Eye. I've had this for a long time. I probably need to watch it. I've seen the movie before, but I haven't seen this Blu-ray. I got it during Halloween, I believe, the year before last, because they had like a discount section of Halloween movies at Best Buy. And The Cat People. This movie, from what I remember, isn't very good, but at the time it came with a DVD of American Werewolf in London. And that's the movie that I really wanted, and that's the movie I felt like I paid for. My mom got me that. I went on a date with this girl, and she's like, "Oh, I'll get it for you for memories or whatever." Chicago, I don't know. It's just a random buy. I do like musicals a little bit though, because I took theater production, which isn't like drama class. Like, we built the set, so like I do have an appreciation for live theater, and I guess that's where I like musicals from. I know that's super random when you see all this other shit that I have. This is every Child's Play movie beside the remake. I actually have not seen the remake before, but I have a soft spot for Child's Play 1, 2, and 3. I don't care for Bride or Cult. Say Cult? No, Seed of Chucky. I like Curse and the Cult of Chucky. But like the first 3 are like my favorite. I've not seen the Blu-ray version of Chinatown. I watched it on Netflix and I got it because I liked it, so I haven't watched it again since. And this isn't like a movie that I feel like you watch a ton. Like, obviously I got it to rewatch it again, but it's been too soon since I saw it on Netflix. I don't have the sequel. I haven't seen the sequel. Is the sequel any good? It's Christine. The car and this Blu-ray transfer is beautiful. Again, got it from my nieces, but who are we kidding? I do like classically animated Disney movies. It looks really cool too when they rotoscope things. Clerks. I love Clerks. If you worked in retail, like, and you haven't seen this movie, see this movie. If you have and you've seen it, I don't know what to say. I got this for the Blu-ray version of Clerks 2. Clerks is probably my favorite Kevin Smith movies. His movies are kind of hit or miss with me, but I adore Clerks and Clerks 2. Coming to America, another John Landis classic. Coneheads. This movie got terrible reviews, but I actually really like the movie Coneheads. Obviously, I have the DVD. I guess companies weren't eager to put it on Blu-ray. I'm sure there is a Blu-ray version. The Conjuring. Did not think I'd like these movies. Ended up watching them. As far as I'm concerned, these are like the new Poltergeist movies. I got The Conjuring 2, which I actually saw in theaters because I liked the first one so much. And I thought it was an awesome sequel. Contracted. There's not a North American Blu-ray version of this, but I love the take on the zombie genre. It's infinitely rewatchable. It has some darker themes, though, probably not for everybody. Coraline, an amazing stop-motion movie film. This is like 3D before they had 3D televisions or 3D Blu-rays. I think a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, they actually had TVs that could display 3D or something where you could like use like the clear glasses, but this actually has like the red and blue glasses. It works quite well. Dazed and Confused, another classic as far as I'm concerned. This is what I would call a poor excuse for trying to make a sequel to A Nightmare Before Christmas. It looks cool in stop motion. I got it because this is probably, I think this is the first Blu-ray movie I ever bought. I got it because I thought it would look the best on Blu-ray. This is a movie of my favorite anime of all time. It's basically like a longer episode. It takes place in between the series. When you get into anime movies, like, especially if they take place during a series, a lot of times they're they're not like a sequel to the series. A lot of times they take place in between a certain part of the series. I don't have the old version of the Crazies, but I have the newer version, the remake, and it's pretty decent. We have Creepshow, which in my opinion is the best movie that was involved, that was based on a story by Stephen King, directed by George A. Romero, and this is a sequel, Creepshow 2, which I like. I like the first Creepshow more, but whatever. Dark Crystal, this movie's kind of fucked up if you ask me, and not because of the story, just because it's weird to see a all puppet movie. Even the Muppet movies had humans in them every once in a while. I don't know how I feel about this movie. I don't think I need to describe what Deadpool and Deadpool 2 are. I haven't seen this movie yet. I just haven't been in the mood. I have a feeling it's going to be somewhat childish. I love Pokemon. I have a soft spot. It's one of those nostalgia things. I just haven't been feeling nostalgic for Pokemon right now. Die Hard, in my opinion, it's the best Die Hard movie. I'm sad I don't at least have the Die Hard 2, Die Harder, and Die Hard 3, which is just called Die Hard with a Vengeance. The other Die Hard movies I don't really care about. Which, I'm trying to think. I know one's called It's a Good Day to Die Hard. I don't know. I already give up because I don't care that much. It's a really cool movie. A lot of political themes, but good. It's good, but you might want to watch that movie with the volume a little bit lower so your neighbors don't hear you, especially if you live in an apartment complex. This set right here is everything you wanted to know about Donnie Darko. The director is actually from Virginia. Do the Right Thing, which is also a movie that you might want to watch with the sound down. I don't know. As you can see, I like a lot of things. Some of the movies that aren't even controversial, like I'll watch the sound down just because I'm embarrassed that I enjoy them. Drag Me to Hell. For a long time, before Ash vs. Evil Dead came out, that was the closest thing to Evil Dead 4 that you were ever going to get. I need to go through these a little bit quicker. This is probably the most serious Tim Burton film I've ever seen. I've not seen a Blu-ray of this, but I imagine since it was filmed in black and white, it would look really good in Blu-ray. But it's a great film. I got this film because everybody said how great it was and how realistic a depiction of 8th grade it was. I was kind of disappointed it wasn't harsher than it was, because 8th grade was terrible. But still a good movie. I just don't know in retrospect if I would want to own it. That's why you need to see movies for yourself once in a while before you make a decision to purchase them. I don't have the Shout version of this, which would have been nice. I believe they're releasing soon a Shout version of LA too. They're almost the same movies, but it's good to revisit the same characters. We're doing this live, folks. I kept the DVD version because it has like the trying to think here. It has like the stuff that they redid, so like even though I prefer the original version for sure, which I believe is on the DVD, I mean on the Blu-ray, I still want every version possible. It's an awesome movie. surprisingly a good remake, which is kind of its own story, doesn't really try to reinvent the wheel. Evil Dead 2 is kind of a remake and a sequel at the same time. Wrap your head around that. Even though this isn't called Evil Dead 3, this is definitely Evil Dead 3, and this version has every single version known to man. Another good movie. The Exorcist. I think it's just like the regular Blu-ray, but it comes with part of the director's book, but not the whole book. Maybe the book that's just covering The Exorcist. I don't even know. It's Fargo. I like that film a lot. I think a lot of people do. They ended up making a TV series of it, so it must not have been that terrible. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I saw they were making Funko Pops of that, or they already have. Fight Club. I knew this was going to be a clusterfuck. This actually has the Final Fantasy 15 movie on it. But I just used the game case, and then I used another case, as I'm sure you saw if you watched my game collections video, for the actual game, because I bought the Royal Edition and I just put it, when I traded in my regular version, I just put it in like some generic case so I could keep the steel case to hold the movie. This is the Final Fantasy 7 movie, which, it's crazy how much technology is improved. In my opinion, like some of the graphics from the Final Fantasy 7 remake on the PlayStation 4 Pro, I haven't played the base PlayStation 4 version of it. I'm sure it looks good too, but the CGI on some things looks better, in my opinion, than the movie, especially the character models. This Final Fantasy movie, it's not based on any game. It just kind of carries some of the themes from the series. It's Forrest Gump. The Founder, Michael Keaton movie. I really actually like this movie a lot. It's about Roy Kroc, who started really the McDonald's franchise as we know it. He didn't invent everything, but he basically started like the franchise. Fingerprints, another movie I adopted from my grandmother. My grandmother was alive. She was a huge fan of horror movies, as you might be able to tell. Firefly, the complete series. I've only seen it incomplete when it originally aired on TV. I need to watch the whole series in its proper order. Also, have the movie, which we'll eventually get to. Man, these fucking things are annoying me. This is not a well planned out video. If you see me displaying these in a better way, you know why. This has Friday the 13th. I bet you'll never guess it, up to part 8. And then we have basically part 9, which I have on DVD. I don't really care that much about Blu-ray, because honestly, in a Friday the 13th movie, all you really care about is the kills, not the storyline. Though I really like part 7, part 4, and part 1 a lot. It's Frozen, in case my nieces come over, but now they have Disney Plus, so no, I have to keep them, but I don't know. I like the first Frozen for a Disney movie. I haven't watched Frozen 2, but they have that now too. So I'm going to have to force myself to watch it, whether I like it or not, and enjoy it. Funny People, a Judd Apatow movie. Gangs of New York. Garden State, another comfort movie, I would say. Ghostbusters 1 and 2. This set actually has features never before seen on any other set. So if you want to see some hidden stuff and bonus features that aren't available on any other version, this is the version to get. And it does have the regular Blu-ray versions if you don't have the special player. I got this, so I can shit talk this movie as much as possible, but I got this hoping for the best. But it's not women being in the movie. It's just a terrible movie as far as, I mean, it's an R-rated summer, if there's nothing on, popcorn flick movie, but I don't know. Like, it feels like the person who wrote that movie has never actually seen Ghostbusters. I think Slimer and it having ghosts in it are the only similarities. This is a live action version of Ghost in the Shell. It came out better than I thought it would. It's almost like every version of Ghost in the Shell combined into one movie, which is weird, but I don't know. I saw it in IMAX. It looked really cool. It's not a bad movie, but it doesn't hold up to Ghost in the Shell. I don't have Ghost in the Shell, what is it called, like 2.0 with the CGI, because why? Basically, like Ghost in the Shell, I believe it's called 2.0. It's not Ghost in the Shell 2. It's like Ghost in the Shell, and like the more complicated animated scenes they redid with early CGI, and it looks terrible, whereas the original, this one right here, everything's animated and it looks amazing and it's hand-drawn and it's awesome. Ghost in the Shell 2, which is actually the sequel, that incorporates CGI, but CGI was a little bit better than, and it shows. This is Ghost in the Shell, the new movie, because it's related to the Ghost in the Rise series, which is kind of like a reboot of Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. It's kind of complex, pretty good. And then this is the movie to Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, which was the TV series. And every version, animated version of Ghost in the Shell, besides Ghost in the Shell 1 and 2, like standalone complex, Arise, they're like retelling the story all over again. They're like all reboots. Finally, we got a Blu-ray version of one of my favorite movies, Ghost World, and when it came out on Blu-ray, it was actually a Criterion collection. It comes with a comic book by the actual writer of the comic book, who actually did the screenplay of the movie, which is extraordinarily rare. Of the girls in the future, but it's a cool movie. This is the original version of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the whole trilogy, and this is the David Fincher version. And I personally like the David Fincher version more than the original version of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. That's just personal preference. I feel that the original movies have pacing issues because they were also broken up as like a TV series movie where like they'd show a little bit at a time. They haven't made sequels though they haven't made American versions of The Girl That Played with Fire and The Girl That Kicks the Hornet's Nest. So take that for what you will. It actually has the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and this is the same actress that plays the main protagonist. I can't think of her name on Prometheus. Alright, let me put these back. Alright, I'm doing this a little bit different. You'll survive, I promise. Well, I hope so. So that was like the made up Girl with the Dragon Tattoo sequel, because the author of the books died. So they're like, instead of making a sequel, let's make a completely original story. It got terrible reviews, but I thought it was actually pretty decent. I like it. I don't care. I don't care what anybody else thinks. Damn it. Of course I don't. Like, I had fucking Chicago up there, for crying out loud. These are all 3 great movies. I probably should have 3 different Blu-ray cases for each one because they're so awesome, but I'm cheap. It's actually a really good movie too. I mean, if I own it, unless they say otherwise, they're all pretty good, because that'd be pretty stupid if I owned it. Which I have a few I own that I don't really care for. But most of those were giveaways. Or hand-me-downs, if you will. And despite me trying to do this differently, due to the awkward shapes, all these fucking special editions and whatnot, they don't tend to stack well. This is Halloween. I know they came out with a 4K version, but this version looks good enough. I'm not a hardcore Halloween fan. As far as I'm concerned, there's Halloween, Halloween 2, which is ironically on Blu-ray. I really like Halloween 2 the best, probably better than the first one. Out of the Michael Myers one. And then Halloween 3, which I don't have on Blu-ray. And Halloween 3 is actually my favorite one, which many would consider blasphemous. And then there's the sequel of the first one where the other sequels didn't happen. It was pretty good. It surprised me. Because after that, there hasn't really been a lot of Halloween movies. This is not a sequel to another movie. There isn't a movie with these characters in it called Hamlet 1. But it is a good movie. This is a good suspense thriller that I got from Goodwill. I don't care about Beer Fest, but I am sometimes a sucker for stupid stoner comedies, and I really like the Harold and Kumar movies. There's Heavy Metal, awesome animated cartoon. I mean, compared to like Castlevania and like Spawn on HBO, it seems pretty tame, but I guess when it came out before I was born. I think like in the early 80s, like 81 or some shit. Let's see how good Michael's memory is. Holy shit. I don't know if you can see it, but 1981. Wasn't even born then, and I knew when it came out. Should get a round of applause. The Hellboy movies. I haven't seen the remake. I don't know if I care to. Like, Ron Perlman, though, as Hellboy is pretty fucking awesome. And I like that movie, and I don't know what order we're in now. Because the DVD slid, or the Blu-rays, or the mixture both slid into each other. There's Hellboy 2, which I haven't watched yet for some reason. A lot of times I'll get new movies, and if I'm really feeling a movie, it sounds stupid, and I hate that I have stuff that I haven't watched. Sometimes I have games I haven't played yet. But sometimes, like, when I'm feeling like I want to play something, I'll go to something that I've already seen or played before because it's more comforting and prevents me from experiencing new things sometimes, which is pretty lame, I would say. Whatever. Don't judge me. Or judge me, I don't care. I don't care what you think. First Hellraiser, Hellraiser 2, really the only ones that you need. Disney's Hercules, these are probably going to be out of order, but I'm tired of fighting this stack that's imploding on each other. And then I just got the rest of the Hellraiser movies that starred Doug Bradley. So, Hellraiser 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All on a nice DVD set. Honestly, you really only, if you're interested in the Hellraiser movies, you really only need to see Hellraiser 1 and 2. Disney Hercules. I saw that movie on the Disney Channel a long time ago. Like when I was in middle school, and I thought I was going to hate it, and I actually really liked it. That's actually a really good modern horror movie. I need to get a Blu-ray version of this. When dear old Gwen was a puppy, she decided to chew the corner. I actually saw that in the theater, which is a big deal because at the time I didn't go to the theaters that much. History of Violence. You wouldn't think by watching it, but this is a David Cronenberg movie. He's definitely not the same director that he used to be. He's a good director still, I feel, but as far as like the body horror shit, like believe that he's done with these. I as many feel. The Home Alone and Home Alone 2 are Christmas classics. I think I've seen Home Alone 3. I don't know about any of the other ones, but they were terrible, in my opinion. If you like them and you grew up with them, because maybe they're nostalgic to you, maybe you're a little kid. I was a little kid when Home Alone 1 and 2 came out. I actually saw 2 in the theater. My dad took me to the theater a few times, which was really nice of him. And those are some of my best memories with my father, because we kind of have a unique relationship. It's rocky, I guess you would say. But some of my favorite memories with my father was going to the movie theater occasionally, which we didn't really get to go because we're kind of poor growing up. We didn't have a lot of money, so most of the movies I've seen in my life have been video rentals. House, really weird movie, but yeah, those are good memories. So maybe you have good memories with newer Home Alones. Howard the Duck. I saw this movie when I was like 2 or 3. I don't know why I remember it, but I guess because of nostalgia, it's fondly. I remember it fondly. It's fondly. I don't even know. The whole Leah Thompson was kind of in a role like in the 80s. Like this movie, she's the love interest of a duck, and then Back to the Future, she likes her own sign. That's not a spoiler. It's common knowledge. Everybody knows it. Leave me alone. I'm sorry I spoiled Back to the Future for you, but I mean, you got this far in the video, you might as well watch the rest. But yeah, I don't know. I like Howard the Duck. Actually, this is a George Lucas. Apparently, he lost a lot of money, but they spent a lot of money on the suit. It's actually, I didn't find this out till I started getting into comics. Howard the Duck is a Marvel comic character, and he actually has little cameos in the background, like Guardians of the Galaxy. The Howling, beside American Werewolf in London, this is probably, in my opinion, the best werewolf movie ever made. The Hunger Games, I actually really like that trilogy, which was surprising. I didn't really care about until they were all released, and I was like, I'll give it a try, and I ended up watching it. And yeah, maybe it's a little juvenile, I don't know, but it's weird enough in like this post-apocalyptic society, and I really like it. And I saw it as an adult, and I don't have any nostalgia for it. I just enjoy it for some reason. Sometimes you just like stuff and you just can't explain why. Indiana Jones quadrilogy used to be the Indiana Jones trilogy, but this does have Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls in this set. Glorious Bastards. I'm kind of reading these out for you. In Dreams. Innocent Blood. I kind of feel like this is a spiritual successor to American Werewolf in London. American Werewolf in London, you'll never guess, involve vampires. I mean, werewolves. This involves vampires, and it's also a John Landis movie, and it kind of has the same kind of sense of humor. And this DVD case is failing me. I think I found this at Movie Stop, which was kind of like a GameStop. Like, you could buy used and new movies. I got that used. I haven't seen Innocent Blood anywhere else, but I would like to buy a new copy, especially if it was on Blu-ray. Into the Night. Weird how these both ended up beside each other. Not too weird because it's in alphabetical order, but another John Landis classic. I actually really, really like Into the Night. I actually saw it when I was a kid, and for years, it was gonna end in the movie. It was on regular TV, so my parents weren't like, "Oh, watch as many rated R movies as you want." It was edited for television, but I was really getting into it, and when the movie was about to end, like my grandmother had cable, we didn't have cable, so parents are like, "All right, let's go," and I had to leave, so I never knew how the movie ended. And for years, I was like, I knew there was a movie with Jeff Goldblum and Michelle Pfeiffer, and I just never could remember what it was. And then I found out what it was on Wikipedia or Internet Movie Database when I was like looking down at, because when I finally was like, what was that movie? And I ended up finding that it was Into the Night, and Shout Factory ended up having a Blu-ray release of it, and the rest is history. Dan Aykroyd is actually briefly in that movie too. The Iron Giant, the Iron Man, the Iron Man 2 Electric Boogaloo, the Iron Man 3, that's actually just Iron Man, Isle of Dogs, awesome stop motion movie. It, thought I was going to hate it, actually liked it quite a bit, and I was reluctant to like it because everybody else liked it. I don't like the original movie It, which also made me think I wasn't going to like it. This is one of the few times where I really think that the remake, beside maybe like The Thing, the remake, and The Thing that came out in like sometime in the 2000s, that's not a remake, that's a prequel. They, for some stupid reason, decided to name it The Thing, but John Carpenter's The Thing is a remake of The Thing from Another World, which is a black and white movie, which I've also seen, which I think John Carpenter's The Thing is better than that movie in my opinion. And the prequel movie of The Thing that stars Elizabeth Winstead, or whatever her name is, whoever played Ramona Flowers in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, she's in it. And it's not too bad, and it sucks that they took all the practical effects out and replaced it with CGI, because when they did a test screening, kids didn't like it because they felt like it wasn't modern enough. This is actually a good little indie film that you won't find. You probably have to order it. Like, I never seen it in the stores. I had to order it. It was, I think it was made for the IFC channel. But it's good. It has Mackenzie Davis, who's in Blade Runner 2049 as that prostitute. You know the one if you've seen the movie. And then it has Mackenzie Davis, if you've seen Terminator Dark Fate, she plays like the main protagonist besides Sarah Connor. Jacob Slatter, amazing horror movie. I feel like this is the movie that inspired Silent Hill. And I, again, have a love for juvenile humor, and no matter how depressed I am, I watch any of the Jackass films, which just has every version of it, including like the films that aren't really like true sequels. They just film so much footage, they release like another version, like 2.0. So what do they call it? Jackass 2.5, and then there's 3.5, and then there's Bad Grandpa 2.5. Like, it has everything. It's on DVD, whatever, I don't care. Like, a lot of these movies look like they were filmed with VHS cameras, because they might have been some of the stunts anyway. But I love the Jackass films. I'm sorry, I'm immature, I know, but let me get the other movies. Alright, so we have Joker, John Wick 3, John Wick 2, I grabbed these backwards, John Wick, Jojo Rabbit, The Jerk, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, James and the Giant Peach. I need to upgrade this to Blu-ray at some point, but this will do for right now. Jaws, Kiki's Delivery Service, Kids in the Hall, Brain Candy. I'm going through these a little bit faster than usual, sorry. Justice League Dark. Justice League, as much as I want to like this film, it is super flawed. So we have Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom, which is the second worst Jurassic Park movie, if you ask me. I think 3 is the worst. Jurassic World, that was actually really good. I think that's the second best Jurassic Park movie. Jurassic Park 3. As you can see, I'm a completionist. Jurassic Park The Lost World. Jurassic Park, it's called Jurassic Park 3D, but it's the first one. Trivia, I saw Jurassic Park The Lost World, and Jurassic Park World in the theaters, in case you needed to know that information. Juno, love it. The director who made... Gosh, I couldn't have said that more flamboyantly. I love this movie. The director who did this is actually the director and co-writer of Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I really like Juno, so hopefully good things will happen in The Lighthouse. Weird movie. It's considered horror, but I don't really know how to... I don't know if that would be accurate. I would call it just surreal. Like, if I didn't know, like, I would just assume David Lynch directed it. The second Lego movie, which, in my opinion, I like better than the first one. Which, that was the first one, if you're curious. La La Land. It's a musical, but it definitely doesn't have as much music as you would expect from a musical. But interesting, and aesthetically, like, which is why I got it, believe it or not. Like, I just really liked the colors, which is weird because it's colorblind, but it looks really good on Blu-ray. LA Confidential, like a neo-noir movie. That's what they call, like a noir movie that's came out that's not that old. The Labyrinth. I had the Dark Crystal. Of course, you know I'm gonna have the Labyrinth. Kubo, the person who made Coraline, made that, and it is nice looking, and the story's good too. Peter Jackson's King Kong. Saw that in the theater. It was awesome. You know, that has the director's cut version. I don't think I've ever watched the director's cut. I need to, but the original is like 4 hours long. It feels like, even though it's not that long. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I always want to call this Killer Clowns from Mars, but that wouldn't be accurate. Kill Bill. I like the first movie more than the second one. Even though they're almost like half of movies, like they're very different. But I just like the pacing. Maybe I'm shallow, but I just feel like the pacing's better. Where like the second one almost feels like a conversation, in the movie. Which, if you were going in seeing the first one, it's just the tone's really different. It's not a bad movie. I'm just saying I like the first one better than the second one. Lupin the Third, The Secret of Momo. This might have been one of the first anime movies I've ever bought, and I like it quite a bit. It's probably my favorite Lupin movie. It'd have to be a tie between that and this one, which is the Castle of Cagliostro, which there was a Laserdisc game called Cliffhanger that actually it played like Dragon's Lair, and actually combined these footage from these two movies into a game that probably made no sense at all. I haven't personally played it. I've just seen it. But usually when you combine two movies to try to create a coherent storyline, especially the side characters, the story is unrelated, I imagine it's not going to make a lot of sense. The Little Shop of Horrors, which includes the original version and the director's cut, but now after seeing the director's cut, I definitely prefer that. The Little Mermaid, nostalgic, I'm not gonna lie. I like The Little Mermaid. It's one of my favorite Disney movies, but it's like one of those movies that I watched a bunch. Like, my cousins and I, like my aunt used to watch us, and they used to put in Disney movies all the time, so I guess it's nostalgic. Like, if I watched it now without any like nostalgia, I don't know how I'd feel about it. But I do have a soft spot for classical animation. There's Life Force. That movie came on regular TV and it scared the shit out of me. And I didn't know what movie it was until like I was in my 30s. And I was like, oh yeah, that's the movie that scared the shit out of me where I couldn't sleep. It's funny, like as an adult, there's very little that scares me as far as like movies go, but when I was a kid I was like scared of everything. I guess I got desensitized, I don't know. Lost in Translation, I really need to upgrade to Blu-ray because this is one of my favorite movies. I haven't come across it in Blu-ray in person. It's one of those Amazon things that you have to do, or you have to buy it off of Amazon in order to own it. At least I do, because I haven't been able to find it in person. And with Amazon movies, I'd have a tendency to procrastinate quite a bit. And this is the Blu-ray version of the extended Lord of the Rings trilogy with 1,000,000 bonus features. The most bonus features I've ever seen in any collection that I personally own. Ironically, the bonus features are on DVD. Alright, next. I don't even know if we're going to get to TV shows on this video. I'm already getting sick of talking about my collection. Alright, we're in the L's. Making progress. Maybe. I don't know. This is 3 Mad Max films. They came in a tin case, but it's really oversized and took up more space than needed, so I put the tin case elsewhere. This is the 4th movie, Fury Road. This is the 3D version. This is an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie people don't talk that much about. It's actually pretty decent, I would say. I own it, unless I say something bad about it. Bill Murray movie. I don't think a lot of people like it. Obviously, I do. I haven't seen this yet. I just got it because I like the art style, and the price was right. I kind of wish I had the version that had the animatrix with it, but I really only need just the 3 films. I really just like the first movie. But I wanted to give the sequels a chance, so I got this. Again, it was one of those budget. Usually when there's multiple DVDs shown on the front of the cover, it's pretty much a guarantee that it's a budget title. But I really like the first Matrix. Although I haven't seen it in a long time, maybe I'd feel differently if I watched it. But I want to give the whole trilogy a chance. Mean Girls, like, this is actually a pretty funny, witty movie disguised as a teen movie for girls, but it is definitely not the case. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, not a lot of special editions of this. I don't know why. This is probably one of my favorite Tim Burton movies. I've not seen this. My mom hated it, and she's like, here, you can have it. I know you're collecting movies. The aesthetics look cool. Moonrise Kingdom. It's the Criterion version. The Criterion version of Mulholland Drive. Millennium Actress. It's a Satoshi Kon film. They're slowly getting released here, but everything that artists or the director's done I liked. He sadly passed away. He doesn't have that many movies. He did that Perfect Blue, Paprika, Tokyo Godfathers, and I know there's another one that's supposed to be coming out, but those are the only ones I can think of offhand. Men in Black trilogy. I like 1 and 3, so I didn't need a fancy set. Although this is a nicer collection than, say, the Matrix one. Metropolis. It's the anime. It looks really cool. It's made by the person who did a lot of the Astro Boy animes. It's very, very, very loosely based on the silent film Fritz Lang version of Metropolis, but you can see some themes there, especially the aesthetics, but it's a different movie. My Neighbor Totoro. Naked Lunch. David Cronenberg. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about that one, and it's pretty interesting in some areas. I could understand why. Really Dry. Everybody have seen that, and of course I'm gonna get comments. I haven't seen it. National Lampoon's Vacation. I really like European Vacation and Christmas Vacation. For whatever reason, I don't have those movies. I should get them though. I don't like Vegas Vacation. This was a childhood favorite. I got a DVD. The picture quality or the color coding or something was way off, and it like ruined the special effects. I haven't seen this version, but I heard they fixed a lot of that. But like when they were like rotoscoping things or like superimposing things, which I can't think of the term offhand, where they like basically put like a mat and then place things on top of it. My brain is like flatlined. I could tell you any other day of the week, but not today. But apparently, like it's closer to what I remember as a kid, which is good. I want to get the Blu-ray version of this, but if you love Nightmare on Elm Street, this is a must-have documentary. It's like 4 hours long, plus it has another disc of tons of things. Anything you wanted to ever know about Nightmare on Elm Street, it's there. Nightmare Before Christmas. This is Nightmare on Elm Street 1 through 6. If you want my honest opinion, my favorites are 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I don't really care about the other one. Wes Craven's New Nightmare was alright. This has some episodes, has a couple episodes from the TV series Freddy's Nightmares. Alright, another budget Blu-ray. I don't know if you could tell. I haven't seen the Friday the 13th remake. I saw like parts of it when it was on TV. I don't really care about that. I mostly got it to have the Blu-ray version of Freddy vs. Jason. And yes, I don't think it's better than the original, but I did enjoy the Nightmare on Elm Street. I was going to call it the Nightmare Before Christmas, the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Night of the Creeps. Absolutely love this movie. Night of the Demons. Absolutely love this movie. Night of the Living Dead. Absolutely love this movie. Dawn of the Dead. Absolutely love this movie. Day of the Dead. Absolutely love this movie. Dawn of the Dead remake. It's okay. The person who wrote Guardians of the Galaxy wrote the Dawn of the Dead remake. And I need to not put it beside the other ones. I need to put Land of the Dead, which I don't know. I don't have that on Blu-ray either. I need to get Day of the Dead and Land of the Dead on Blu-ray because I know they are. I don't think Dawn is on Blu-ray yet, at least here in North America. I'm sure the remake is though. This is an anime I got just because I like the aesthetics of it. It looks super cute and whimsical, but as far as I can tell, it's like the story of a young alcoholic woman trying to find herself. As you can see, I pretty much have movies for every mood. I have not watched this. This was another hand-me-down. Paprika, really surreal. Satoshi Kon, he is an amazing artist. I have his art book. He's not only an amazing director, he's an amazing artist, and the non-movie related stuff is incredible as well. Pan's Labyrinth, that's the Criterion version. If you are curious, and we have like super highbrow film collection right here, the Phantasm collection, which, you know, I like them all. I kind of have mixed feelings about Phantasm 5, but I understand that movie was being filmed, halted, being filmed, halted again. It was like basically made in like forever, like not being released, and then one day it randomly got released, but like there's so much CGI in it, and it's not good CGI, and it's a movie based on surrealism, and if they just used cheap practical effects, it would have been so much better. And I know, what is the main guy? I think his name's Angus Grimm or some shit. Well, the guy on the cover, the main antagonist, the actor died before I believe the movie was even released. But it's a good collection. I like it. So, Paranorman, Perfect Blue. I've talked about this throughout my collection. These are animes based on the Persona 4 video game. Apparently they made a golden version, which was like a special edition game of Persona 4. And I'm like, really, they need to make an anime, redo a whole anime of like the some extended scenes. It's original Pet Sematary. I didn't even finish the newer one. I kind of lost interest. I probably need to finish it just to say that I've seen it. But I do like the first Pet Sematary movie. I actually like Pet Sematary too, although I haven't seen it as an adult. Pinocchio, probably my favorite classic Disney movie. Phenomenon, Dario Argento. Actually has Jennifer Connelly in it, which is really weird for an Italian horror movie, but it was before she was famous. I think it came out right before she was in Labyrinth. Planet Terror, one half of the Grindhouse films. The other half was Death Proof. I don't have that. I'm sure they have like some Blu-ray set that has both movies. If I come across it, I probably should pick it up. Polanski, based on Polanski. The Poltergeist, one of my favorite movies. The Poltergeist 2, one of my favorite movies. The Poltergeist 3. But now I have the whole set. Predator, triple feature. I actually like all three of those films. I've not seen the movie The Predator, but I need to see it. I have a feeling I'm not going to like it though. Princess Mononoke, probably my favorite studio. I'm looking at it and it's not even in camera, but probably my favorite studio Ghibli movie. I'm probably saying it wrong, but I've heard so many people say it so many different ways. When I'm trying to film this video off the cuff, I'm gonna fuck up everything. Now Shout actually owns the rights to all these movies, but Best Buy had them on sale for $15 each. So like every time I get paid, like I'd like buy a few until I ended up basically having the whole Ghibli collection. Or Ghibli. But I heard the Shout editions are better. I got my niece Kiki's Delivery Service, the Shout version, and it's not on a streaming service. This is one of my favorite 80s movies I used to watch on regular TV all the time, like a comfort film. I actually watched it on Amazon Prime, which is in 1080p. They never released a Blu-ray of it, which is weird, because that's like, I mean, he didn't direct it, but he wrote it like a John Hughes film. Princess Bride, that's a Criterion version. 80s staple. Punch Drunk Love, probably the best Adam Sandler movie in my opinion. Purple Rain, this is probably one of the worst Blu-ray transfers in my opinion, and it comes in a purple case, which kind of reminds me, I love the movie Purple Rain. It's like 80s cheese all the way. It's fantastic in that way. But it kind of reminds me of the real Ghostbusters ectoplasm container tops, which were purple. I don't know, maybe they weren't allowed to make green ones. Raging Bull, awesome movie. This has Rambo 1 through 4 on it. It doesn't have the director's cut of 4, but apparently the non-director's cut, and I heard it wasn't really a director's cut, it just had additional footage and then had other footage taken out. And one of the things they took out was the blood, which I remember most from Rambo 4, so I'm glad I just had the theatrical version. A lot of people shit on this movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was dark, but I still liked it. Whatever. Oh, Ready Player One. Based on the book called Ready Player One. Reality Bites. I actually love this film quite a bit. Get out of there. They put like a piece of cardboard on it to make with 90s trivia, but it's just like the regular Blu-ray release. Sneaky, sneaky. excuse me while I it sounded like I was gonna say, well, like where they say I'm blazing saddles. I'm not gonna repeat it, but yeah, that's what it started to sound like. It just has 90s trivia. There was like a 90s section at Best Buy for a while. Reanimator. Fantastic horror schlock, I believe is the term. I love it. Bride of Reanimator. Fantastic. Beyond Reanimator. Not as good, but fantastic in its own right. And creates a nice little trilogy. These are the canon Resident Evil movies in CGI. I've only seen one. I was like, well, I want the one, and I have the other ones. I'm sure they're at least watchable. They can't be worse than the live action ones. I know a lot of people love those movies. I'm sorry, I just don't. Return of the Living Dead. Return of the Living Dead 2. I watched Return of the Living Dead 3, and you could tell they didn't follow the rules of the first two movies. It's like a completely different movie. It's alright. Like, if I came across it, I'd get it. But after that, I have seen the sequels. Like, there's like one called Rave to the Grave. Like, I believe they were filmed at the same time. And they're just like stereotypical zombie movies, and which isn't the point of Return of the Living Dead, especially the first one. The first one is really crazy. Written and directed by Dan O'Bannon, who wrote the first Alien movie. Return to Nukem High. It's a trauma movie. I don't know if you know about trauma, but it's pretty messed up, and it's one of the weaker trauma movies, which is disappointing because this came out after Poltergeist, which when I'm saying Troy, or I was saying Troy, I don't know why, because of trauma, and I was thinking of Lloyd at the same time. When I say trauma, I'm usually referring just to the Lloyd Kaufman directed movies, who owns Trauma. And this is definitely one of the weaker ones. This is volume 1. There's a volume 2. I don't have it. Maybe it's better. One of the weird things about that movie is it looks like it was filmed with a digital camera. And Trauma movies look really low budget, and they're filmed with shitty film stock, and I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, I haven't seen Volume 2, but the best last Trauma movie I saw was Poltergeist. Revenge of the Nerds. I love it. I like Revenge of the Nerds too. And then I don't remember much about 3 and 4. I know 4 was Nerds in Love, I think is what it was called. It was like made straight to TV. It's a RoboCop trilogy. I saw they came out with an Arrow version of the original RoboCop, but that has the director's cut of RoboCop on it. That's the one I really wanted anyway. And I really like RoboCop too. Rocket Man. Good movie. Probably not a realistic telling of the story, because I doubt in real life he broke out into music videos every time something was going on in his life. But interesting. Rocky Horror Picture Show. Cult classic, if you will. I sound like I know what I'm talking about. It was way before my time, but I saw it afterwards, so my opinion should count, damn it. And then we have the Royal Tenenbaums, which is a fun little movie. The Ruins. I hear how creepy and terrifying the movie is, The Ruins, but it's just like, I don't know, it almost felt like it was made for the Sci-Fi Channel. Rushmore. Probably my favorite Wes Anderson movie. And then we have the Sailor Moon features, which you'll notice they're called R and the other one's S. And that's basically, each time they had a season, they had like a different letter after the season, at least in Japan and America. Like, but these are like redubbed versions of like the Japanese, so they're not like the kind you grew up with per se. The ones that I and many others grew up with were like extraordinarily like edited. Extraordinary. They were edited a lot, and they didn't really follow the Japanese storylines or character arcs and all this shit, and it doesn't really matter. All you need to know is that they take place during those seasons of the letters that they're named after. Next. So this was going to take longer than I thought it would. Just a heads up. You'll already know because you've seen the title. But I'm only doing movies today because TV shows are almost a whole nother shelf. And it's getting late, and movies should be enough. And maybe I'll get more views if I do TV shows separately. That's really the main reason. That's the best evil laugh I could come up with at this time of night. But really, this video is already going to be ridiculously long, and you probably are starting not to give a shit anyway. So let's just continue. Just be happy with what we have here. All right, Sailor Moon Super. I think that's what it's called because I can't see because I didn't put on my glasses. It's Super S. I think that was the last of the Sailor Moon movies. Satellite Girl and Milk Cow. Haven't watched it yet, but it looked like highbrow entertainment. Saturday Night Live, the best of Dan Aykroyd. Good stuff if you like Dan Aykroyd. Saving Private Ryan. Super depressing, but one of my favorite movies. Saw movies were hand-me-downs. I do not personally like the Saw movies. They were my grandmother's. Maybe I should watch them since I have them. That seems like that'd be the right thing to do. Love Scanners, one of my favorite David Cronenberg movies. I think my favorite one is The Fly. I actually really like The Fly too. What do you guys think? I need to get that. I just sound like, oh, I just need to get that. Just sound like the greediest asshole on planet Earth. Scarface. I mean, this movie isn't bad, but it was really disappointing because I loved reading the books and the artwork as a kid, and they tried to do their own thing, which I guess I can give them credit for, but it wasn't the movie I imagined when they said they were going to make a Scary Stories movie. But whatever, I digress. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I know a lot of people don't like this movie, which is weird because I feel like they liked it when it was new, and now it's everybody's changed their mind. But I think that might be because people who weren't in their 20s or in their late teens when this movie came out are watching it now, and I feel like the generation's perspective has changed so much in such a short amount of time. Like, yes, Scott Pilgrim's an asshole, but the whole experience, I don't know. It reminds me of like a fantastical version of my 20s, and I adore it. So, whatever. If you don't like it, fine. Watch whatever movie that you watch. Watch The 8th Grade. Schindler's List. You know, it was a movie I felt like I needed to have, but I have not watched it. That's like a movie that you really got to be in a specific mood. 7. Awesome movie. Great way to not talk about Schindler's List anymore. Serenity. I will not watch this until I finish Firefly. If you're not aware, Serenity is kind of like the movie sequel to Firefly. Shape of Water. I actually saw this in the theater, the Bird Theater, which is like a really cool, it's a historical landmark theater in Richmond. It used to cost $1 to go in when I was younger. Now it costs like $5, but it's really cool. They do need to update their seating, which I heard the Sundance Film Festival was upgrading the seating when I was in college, which was 2003. I heard that, and it still has not been replaced. Don't know what they're waiting on, but it's really cool. They have like an organ. And they sometimes play it while you're waiting for the movie, and it also has like upstairs balconies. It's really cool. It's like and it has like the spiral staircasing. It looks like a movie theater that's haunted. I heard it was haunted, if you believe in that sort of thing. Sin City. This is the extended cut, so I saved it, and then I have the theatrical cut on Blu-ray, which these movies look awesome in Blu-ray. And I'm asking myself, where is Sin City 2? Because somehow got mixed up. Because that Sin City came with Sin City 2, which was in 3D. It's called A Dame to Kill For, which some stories were made from the graphic novels, and some were made for the movie for A Dame to Kill For. I thought it was a pretty good follow-up. A lot of people didn't like it. Sid and Nancy, I really like this movie. Obviously, I own it, and it wasn't a hand-me-down. Silent Hill, this is probably the best live-action video game adaptation. It does take liberties, but I feel like it really does feel like Silent Hill. Right now, the sequel, Silent Hill, I believe it's called, like, Revelations? I don't know. I know all the Resident Evils have all these weird names, but I heard the second Silent Hill movie's awful, but I would like to see it because I really like the first Silent Hill. 16 Candles, other John Hughes film. Sleeping Beauty, I really like this movie because I just remember the dragon at the end of it when I was a kid. Watching it as an adult, the animation was really impressive, but like a kid, I didn't really start really enjoying it until the dragon showed up. Sleepy Hollow, and I'm sorry if I spoiled Sleeping Beauty for you. Slither, I need to upgrade to the Blu-ray. I adore this movie. I believe this was a James Gunn movie too. Wasn't it? Yeah, written and directed by James Gunn, and then he went to go make Guardians of the Galaxy. He actually also used to work for Troma. Snow White. I remember my grandmother taping this for me as a kid, and I enjoyed it. I haven't watched it now as an adult. I'm sure it'll have the nostalgia feels. Spaceballs. I mean, I'm sure you were expecting to see that in this library. Spider-Man. I bet you'll never guess what part of the trilogy this is. Spider-Man 2. We have Spider-Man 3. We have Spider-Man that I got from Goodwill. The Amazing Spider-Man, excuse me. As much as I think Spider-Man 3 is alright, I really like Spider-Man 1 and especially Spider-Man 2. The Amazing Spider-Man movies, they're alright, but yeah, not a huge fan, especially for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I absolutely love Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's animated, but if you feel like you're too old to watch something like this and you like Spider-Man, just give it a chance. It's really cool. It doesn't look like anything out there, and it has the feels. It touches your heart a little bit. Sometimes you'll be like, how am I still alive? Because I know I don't have a heart. Like that little black prune-shaped thing in the middle of my chest can't be beating anymore. And you'll watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and you'll feel something. You're like, it's pumping again. It exists. It's still there. Spider-Man Homecoming, part of the MCU Spider-Man universe. Good. Love Michael Keaton being in it. Love that Robert Downey Jr. is in it. He's on the cover, by the way, so I'm not fucking spoiling it. Alright. Now I'm gonna get some shit. Oh well. I tried to put this in the order story-wise that they came out with. So, yeah. Solo, Star Wars story. Probably out of the Disney Star Wars movies, my least liked one. I really like Rogue One, which I hate these fucking cardboard editions that they come out with where the flaps are all over the fucking place. They're like Target exclusive. We have exclusive cardboard flaps that get all over the fucking place. These are all jacked up. So we have Rogue One. Then we have the prequel and original Star Wars trilogy, which is kind of a must-have, if you ask me. The 3D version of Force Awakens Episode 7. We have The Last Jedi, which everybody loves, critically acclaimed. And another critically acclaimed movie, Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. And you notice only Rogue One and The Force Awakens were 3D Blu-rays, because that's around the time I feel like North America's starting to drop it, but apparently in Europe you guys are still getting 3D movie releases. I don't know. Alita Battle Angel came out though, and that was in 3D. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know anything. Well, you saw the movies I own. I don't know anything. Alright, next. Alright, we're in the S's. I mean, we were in the S's when we were in Star Wars, whatever. Alright, Stripes. Razzle Dazzle. The Strangers. I don't even know if that's good. I haven't seen it. It was a hand-me-down. Suicide Squad in 3D, and it has, I believe, an alternate version. I believe it does. Yeah, it has an extended cut. Not as bad as everybody said it was. I'm glad I gave it a chance. Suicide Squad. This was rated R too. Yeah, some of the DC animated movies have been rated R. That was pretty cool. I told you what my favorite ones were, and they were the Batman ones. Super 8. It's J.J. Abrams, but it definitely feels like a Goonies type or Stranger Things type movie. Superman 2, which is my favorite Superman movie. I need to get the first Superman, but after Superman 2, I don't care much for 3 or 4. Sucker Punch. It's an interesting movie. Super Bad, always good for some yucks. Very immature. Watership Down. You should definitely see that one, especially if you love animals. Welcome to Marwin, based on a true story. Suspiria. I want the Blu-ray version so bad, but this version's really cool. I actually had to find this in the foreign movie section, even though it's in English. But it came with a soundtrack, postcards, and all this other stuff. But Synapse Films came out with an amazing looking version of the film on Blu-ray, and now 4K Blu-ray. This is the remake of Suspiria. I heard it's really different, and it somewhat follows the story, but does its own thing, and it's longer, and I heard it's an investment of time, and I just haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm really curious about it, and I'm sure I'll like it. I just have a hunch on these things. Sweeney Todd. I need to get the Blu-ray version of this. This is also a musical with the most blood. Not only the bloodiest musical I've ever seen, that's including Cannibal the musical. But to me it felt like Tim Burton going back to its roots, but unfortunately he's just started making Disney movies afterwards. But it's one of the more bloodier movies that I have, believe it or not. I don't know how it got an R rating. Because I guess it depends on what director it is. Honestly, I think the the Motion Picture Association or whatever it is, whoever, like the parents that come in and rate the movies, I feel like they're biased depending on the director. Like, I feel like Steven Spielberg can get away with a lot more than like some independent film director. Seeking a Friend at the End of the World, guilty pleasure. Kind of has a depressing but touching ending. I absolutely love it, and I want it on Blu-ray. Like everything. Tales of the Dark Side. This kind of is like the leftovers from what wasn't used in Creepshow a little bit. Tom Savini, when you see him being interviewed, he often says that Tales of the Dark Side is technically Creepshow 3. Have any of you seen the Creepshow TV show? I saw a few episodes that were uploaded on YouTube that are now taken down, but what I've seen I've actually quite adored. Taxi Driver, one of my favorite movies, and I don't want to subscribe to the Shudder service. Like most of the things I own, like probably don't even support the Shudder streaming service. I hope they come out with a Blu-ray, because Greg Nicotero, who worked with Tom Savini on a lot of things, and I believe some stuff is still based on Stephen King stories. This has Terminator 1 through 4 on it, which I like all of them. Terminator 3 is probably my least favorite one. I actually like Terminator 4 Salvation, if you will, more than 3. Terminator Genesis, I like certain aspects of it. Even though James Cameron was involved with this, I was kind of disappointed with that one more than Genesis. Another Trauma film, Terra Firma, Watch at Your Own Risk. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I haven't watched the Blu-ray version. This is a fairly new purchase that I got around this Halloween. It's kind of like a spoof film, even though it's called Part 2 and made by the same director. But I really like Texas Chainsaw Massacre too. I wish I had that on Blu-ray. Something About Mary, always good for some yucks. This is the thing from one of the thousands. 2010. This is a prequel. It's not a remake. I can understand why anybody's confused. That movie takes place before this movie. The one before is the opening. The one before's ending is the opening of this movie. I actually really like the prequel. Not nearly. It can't compare with John Carpenter's The Thing in my opinion, but it's decent enough. And I like it, obviously, because I own it, but, yeah, it's a shame. You can actually look up the practical effects of the movie on YouTube, and it's really disappointing when you see how good they were. Because, I mean, the CGI is alright, but it can't compare to the practical effects. Because John Carpenter's The Thing is, like, that's what it's known for, is its practical effects. Toy Story... That's like my favorite Pixar series. There's not a Toy Story movie I don't like. I think 3 is my favorite. It's kind of cool when you watch them, because Toy Story is like the first CGI movie, at least that I remember in theaters. It's kind of cool to watch each one, because you can tell how like the technology and 3D rendering improves. Like each Toy Story feels like a milestone. The Toxic Avenger. I need to get the Blu-ray version of these because these are getting old and worn out. Not even just where I want the better version. I just want versions that aren't old. Kind of scratched up. My part 4 is like really scratched up. A lot of these I had to get secondhand, because trauma movies aren't the easiest to find, and a lot of times it was easy to get them secondhand, especially 4. Like, I believe this was one you really had to order most of the time. Like, you wouldn't find that in stores because they're like unrated films, because they're really fucked up. Especially 4, but 1's pretty fucked up too. I got this just for Total Recall. I have no desire to watch the other 2 movies that came. Trading Places. Love this film. John Landis. Transformers the movie. I don't love this film. I love the nostalgia surrounding this film, and I think the animation is incredible. That was honest. I'm not going to shit you on my channel. I'm not going to tell you how something's one way when it's really the other. I don't play like that. Trick or Treat. I actually got this for Christmas, which is kind of ironic because this is a Halloween movie. But this is one of the newer contemporary anthology movies that I've seen, and I'm glad I gave it a chance. I absolutely adore it. My mom gave me this for Christmas along with Sam, who's the little scarecrow character. He's like the mascot of Halloween. You know how, like, there's like the Easter. I hate saying this because, you know, they're like Christian holidays, but you know how, like, Easter has the Easter bunny. Valentine's Day has like the Cupid. Some people think of Christmas as Santa Claus. Well, they came up with a mascot for Halloween, which is Sam, who punishes you if you don't. That's not the story of the movies, because it's an anthology film and everything's taking place around the same night. Awesome. Definitely recommend it. I didn't spoil anything. You know who you are. Because there's a bunch of different stories. It's like Tales of the Crypt in one night, where there's a bunch of different stories being told, and it's awesome. And I don't know, maybe it's on Instagram where the figure is, but I'm not getting up to show you the figure now. Like, I gotta wrap this video up. Luckily, there's not that many more movies to go to before it starts to bleed into TV shows. Alright, next. Alright, this is the last batch of films. Spirited Away. Stand By Me. Romeo and Juliet, which was the movie I was referring to. That was Troma. That was written by James Gunn, who got in trouble for all his inappropriate tweets. But if you've seen any Troma movie, knew that he wrote for them, then you shouldn't be surprised. Like, they should have known when they hired him for Guardians of the Galaxy. A Stanley Kubrick collection. Mostly got this for Clockwork Orange and The Shining. Not so much for 2001 Space Odysseys. Not that I'm shitting on it, it's just my least favorite out of all three of those movies. Twilight Zone the movie, controversial filming, but I think it's overall still a good film. I love it, it's super nostalgic. My grandmother, I think, taped it off of HBO for me, and I absolutely adored it. Underworld Collection, I've seen maybe the first three movies. I haven't seen the other ones, but if the other ones suck, how many are there? Like 5? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, I keep up with my collection quite well. It has the first 3 movies, and I think this was only like $20, which is as much as one Blu-ray. So you get 5 movies for $20, and the last one's fairly new. It just had the first 3, or just one, it would probably be worth the money to me. So the other ones are terrible. I don't really care. Vampire Hunter D. It's an old anime, but kind of cool. It's a supernatural element. I'm sure you guessed that by Vampire Hunter. John Carpenter's Vampires. People don't talk about that film that much, but pretty cool. Venom. I'm a fan of the comic book character. I have not seen this movie yet. VideoGame. Weird, but I really like it. This is the Criterion version of The Virgin Suicides. This is another one of the first Blu-rays I got. Was the director's cut of The Watchmen. And there's an even longer version that has animated sequences of the comic books that the kid reads in the actual Watchmen graphic novel. Weird Science. They tried to give it a fancy cover, and the cover's still fancy under. I thought it'd be the regular version, because that's what it is. It's just the regular version repackaged. It's not some special edition. What We Do in the Shadows. It's like a mockumentary, kind of like The Office, but with vampires. I haven't seen the TV show. I heard it was really good, and a lot of the same people who were involved in the movie were involved with that. Whip It. This was directed by Drew Barrymore, which she seems super spacey and stuff like that. Kind of, I guess you might like it if you watch this channel, because I probably seem super spacey. But I was surprised that it was a good film, and thus now I own it. Roger Rabbit on Blu-ray. Although I like the casing of the DVD better, but it's nice to have it on Blu-ray. The original Wicker Man. This is not the one with Nicolas Cage. This is the one with Christopher Lee in it. Willow. When Rises. This is the Cornetto trilogy. I love all the 3 of those movies. It contains Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World Ends. Wreck-It Ralph. This actually has a lot of actual real video game cameos, meaning like characters from video games are in this. Actually really like that movie. John C. Reilly and Sarah Silverman do the voices of the main characters. This is Ralph Breaks the Internet. I haven't watched this one yet, but I'm sure I'll like it. Wonder Woman. Didn't care about the movie, ended up seeing it, ended up really liking it. Out of all the DC movies of the DC cinematic universe, it's weird to say because I never read any of her comic books. The only time I've ever saw her when she made cameos in like Batman books. But she, in my opinion, she has the best movie of the DC cinematic universe. The Joker is not part of that universe because you could say like, oh yeah, all the other Batman movies, they're not part of it. The DC cinematic universe, if you're confused, is Batman versus Superman, Superman, Man of Steel, and the Justice League and Suicide Squad, and Wonder Woman, and then Wonder Woman 1984 that's coming out, which I'm actually excited to see because Wonder Woman was surprisingly good for a character I didn't give a shit about. I don't have the first Wolverine movie because, in my opinion, it's stupid. That's saying a lot based on a comic book movie. Logan's actually a really good movie on its own, even if you don't know anything about the characters. It's a good dramatic movie. These are the 2 X-Files movies, since I have the TV collection, which we'll visit on another video because this movie video is taking too long. I don't have the Phoenix movie because I haven't seen it yet. But I like X-Men First Class, which basically redoes the X-Men movie timeline, which I don't really care for the original Bryan Singer movies as much. X-Men Days of Future Past, which is awesome. This is the road cut. I haven't watched the road cut yet, but I watched the original. X-Men Apocalypse. This is alright. It's lackluster. I feel like that's how I'm going to feel about Rise of the Phoenix. Your Name, I heard this was awesome. I like the animation. I just haven't gotten to it yet. Zombieland. It takes its zombies seriously, but the characters are silly. I like it. This was a surprisingly good sequel, which was called Zombieland Double Tap if I moved it way too fast. And finally, Zombie, which was actually called Zombie 2 for a long time, because Zombie in Europe was actually George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. So they tried to make an unofficial sequel to that. And then later on, they just called it Zombie. But this is one of the worst DVD transfers I've ever seen. The picture is so dark, you can barely make out things. Apparently there's a decent looking Blu-ray, but last time I checked it was kind of expensive, so hopefully at some point they'll lower it in price so I can have a version of Zombie I actually can see. But no skin off my back because I got this at the Goodwill. I think it was like $2 or something. Something around there. Possibly $3. I broke the bank at $3. Well, that's my movie collection. I hope you enjoyed, and here's a sneak preview of TV shows so you know they exist. I just don't know where to hold the camera right now. I have a Ghostbusters air freshener. How cool is that? I don't know what smell it's supposed to be. It doesn't say on the back. It's on the floor now. Doesn't say it. My sister for Christmas got me a box that had like a bunch of different Ghostbusters merchandise in it, including coasters and a random air freshener, but I don't see what scent it is. I imagine it's something completely unrelated to Ghostbusters. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and it was educational. If you have any questions about any of the movies, feel free to ask. If I spoiled anything, I tried my best not to. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you on the next video. Stay safe, mentally, physically, and all that jazz. I don't know how to end this. Oh, alright, I'll just do this. Bye.
If you want to, Like, comment, and subscribe! Thanks for watching!